Hey everyone, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're not new here, welcome back to an episode of The First Flare. It's a series I created for You Look Okay to Me, where I speak to people with chronic illnesses about their first flare, obviously. In this episode, I'm going to be speaking to a friend of mine called Rashida. She's a fashion blogger from South London, the best part of London, and was diagnosed with lupus. This is Rashida.
My name is Rashida and I'm currently living with lupus. I've been living with lupus since 2016, so that's 4 years now. It was 4 years in January.
So with a lot of people living with lupus, myself included, there are sometimes little signs that you get in the years prior to your diagnosis that indicate that something isn't quite right. And that's what happened with Rashida as well.
So I graduated in summer of 2015. And then I did all this traveling, I remember, and then I finally finished with my traveling in September. I finished traveling. Then I was like, great, now I need to start looking for a graduate job. But I noticed over time that I would just get really tired all the time. There's being tired and there's what I call being lupus tired. So lupus tired to me is when you don't even have the energy to speak, like you're that tired. So I remember I would get really tired at just random times. I'd be at work. I used to work in a call center and I'd be falling asleep as I'm at work, and that just didn't feel right to me. I used to drink a lot of Red Bull just to try and keep my energy up, but sometimes even with that I would still feel tired. But I kind of just brushed it off and I thought, oh, it can't be anything too serious. Maybe I'm just lacking something like vitamins or something. So I was just like, oh, let me just try and change my diet. And then I remember there was one particular day when I looked at my hands and I had a really weird rash, like all here on my fingers. It was little bumps and it really itched all the time. End of November, I remember I went to meet one of my friends and we went out for dinner, and I remember saying to her, I was just like to her, there's just something not right with me and I can't pinpoint what it is and I really don't feel well. So I went to the doctor and then the doctor was like, oh yeah, you need to take your vitamin D tablets daily and blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, cool, maybe it'll be fine. There was one night when I was out and then I drove home and I parked my car and I was so tired that I didn't even have the energy to get out of my car. And I remember I managed to get the energy, but by the time I got into my house and to the stairs, I couldn't get up the stairs. So I crawled up the stairs. And then I remember my mum, when I opened the door, my mum was like, are you all right? And I was just like, I'm just really, really tired. I managed to get myself in the bath and then I fell asleep in the bath. And that's never happened to me before. So from when I fell asleep in the bath, I was like, there is something with me that is not right. It's
strange because we were diagnosed with the same condition. I've never been fully admitted into hospital for any flare-up, let alone my first flare-up. But for Rashida, it was actually a bit different.
I went to the doctor and then I said to them that I'm not well, there was something not right with me. And they were like, oh, you've probably just got a viral infection. And they prescribed me with loads of antibiotics. Started taking the antibiotics, still wasn't feeling right. And then I remember when I knew that I was seriously ill is when I got my first fever. You know when you get the fever and you shake, you're shivering? I remember I was on the sofa shivering, but I was so hot. My face, everything was hot, but your body feels cold. So I was shivering. And then the next day my mum was like, we're going to the hospital. I was in hospital for a few days and obviously they were giving me all this stuff. They gave me this antibiotics that I happened to be allergic to. So that made me even more ill. And I was having these fevers and all this joint pains. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move. I lost so much weight. I was throwing up. I had really bad indigestion because when I get flare-ups, I get really bad indigestion for some reason. So my stomach will literally twist into, oh my God, it was just the worst. Then my skin started to go bad. I started to get lesions on my skin. So I remember I got it all down here, which is still scarred now. I had it all over my fingers. And then it started to it came up all here as well. So I had all the rashes, it was just open wounds of flesh and stuff. So then they still couldn't understand what was wrong with me. They were still trying to figure it out. They were I was telling them I've got all these marks, I don't know what's wrong. Until eventually I got a really bad rash all across. So all my skin here went flesh, all the flesh came up here and then here as well. And then that's when they got a rheumatologist in. And that's the doctor that came to see me is still my doctor now. And she came up to me and I remember she looked me right in the face and she was like to me, I want you to Google what lupus is, because she was like, I'm 99% sure that that's what you've got. I knew what lupus was because I'd heard that Selena Gomez had it and Lady Gaga thought she had it at one point. So I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't know the in-depth of it. They did a blood test and then she came back to me the next day and she said, yep, you've got lupus. And then she was like, we're going to have to start you on treatment and medication and stuff, and then you should be able to go home soon. So then it kind of just, that was the beginning of the journey, really.
You explain it so eloquently, and honestly, this is why I like talking to you, because you paint the movie. I'm like, oh, it's like a movie.
That's the theatre student within me, that I just like to tell stories. It's like very detailed in my storytelling. I started at like a very heightened point, and it took a very long while to settle, because that is, so the way that my flares work now is that I can have an extreme flare, which is what that was, and then I can have mini flares. So sometimes I'll just have like miniature flares where I'm sick for a few days, but it doesn't get to that point. I think I've only had a flare that severe twice. So I'll know that if I'm having a severe flare is when I get the rash. That's when I know that I've got a very severe flare. But other than that, I just have the odd up and down, swollen joint pains, muscles.
What would be helpful, I think, because we spoke about actually beforehand to other people, I think especially black girls, is the hair that I don't think you've mentioned. Like that's another symptom that you could go into if you're comfortable.
I lost most of my hair during my first flare. So when I was in hospital that time, I had my hair like in braids. So they were just like in just like single plaits. And obviously I came out of hospital, carried on kind of just with like my daily life and just trying to adjust to all like the medications and stuff. And then I took my hair out of those braids and half of my hair came out with the braids. So I lost all my hair at the side, I lost it all at the front, and I lost it like in the middle. So it just thinned and it just fell out. I would try my hardest to piece it, but it was just beyond repair. So I just had to literally shave all my hair off, which actually was the anniversary of me doing that was like last week.
Oh wow.
4 years, yeah, because I remember I did it I think about 3 days before I went to Barbados. So that was exactly like 4 years ago now. Like sometimes I'll think to myself, oh Rashida, you're just being dramatic, it's just hair, it will grow back. But it's my hair. And your hair sometimes is your pride and joy. My hair was my pride and joy. That was probably, of all the things that I've been through in my journey with lupus, that was the hardest thing that I have ever had to deal with, because I didn't know that that was a symptom of lupus.
And as I ask every single person that takes part in this series, what advice would you give to your younger self going through the flare-up at that time? If you knew what you knew now, what would you say to that person?
That's a question, boy. I would say, Rashida, you are in for a ride. That's the first thing I would say. Because yeah, lupus is a journey, man. It's something that every day you just learn something new, even about the illness itself. And yes, I'd say you're in for a ride. And I would just tell myself to just be strong and keep going, because things will get better. It took me a long time to settle. And there were even points when I thought, is this what my life is going to be like? Like being just constantly ill, because in the first 3 years that I had lupus, I was ill probably 80% of the time. I was just always ill, and it just got so overbearing at times, and it took a long time for them to settle me on my medication. Eventually things will get better and things will settle. I can finally say that I'm at a point in my journey now with lupus that I'm not 100% well, but I know how to manage it and I know my limits now. You have to adjust to your new normal. So I've learned to adjust to it now much better. Yeah, I'll just tell myself, Rashida, just hang in there. It's going to be fine. You're going to get better from what you are now, obviously. Like you will get to a stable point where it will become something that you will just learn to live with. And it's just like, it's just a part of me now that I just have to just live with and just get through.
Thank you all so much for watching that video, and a massive thank you to Rashida, obviously, for being so honest and open about her experience. If you want to connect with Rashida even further, you can follow her. I'll put the information on the screen somewhere, and you can also see her information in the description box below. Massive thank you to you all. I really hope you enjoyed the series. Please connect if you look okay to me. If you liked this video, make sure you like the video on whichever platform it is, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, IGTV, any of those, and follow You Look Okay to Me on all of those social platforms. Thank you all so much for watching that video, and I will see you in the next one.